Hello, lovely dance people, and welcome to David's Dance Podcast. I'm your host, David Evans. We have a dynamic and powerful, exciting b-boy here with us on the podcast today. He's a member of Gully Squad from London. He's been helping me out recently, loads with my breaking and like helping me to level up. And his teaching's been so on point. And I really wanted to have him on to be able to impart some knowledge onto you guys as well. We're so happy to welcome to the podcast Gabriel Infante. Gabriel, welcome.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Dude, it's a pleasure to have you, man. I was just saying to Gabriel before we logged on how sore I was after our session. Focusing on, I said, he's like, hey man, what do you want to work on? I was like, oh, definitely flares. And boy, did he give me flares. It was like, just like an hour and a half of just flare training. And I was, I was pretty sore the next day.
Yeah, man.
But it was good. It was good, man. I wanted to ask you as well. You've gotten to a really great level with your breaking and had some, I don't know how it's perceived to you. This is me perceiving it from the outside, but had really good, strong progression. Are there moments in when you think back over like your kind of breaking journey that you had kind of like big breakthroughs in your dancing where you had a moment where things just kind of like clicked or something kind of came together, whether that was kind of like power just working a certain way or the musicality coming together or whatever it might be. Were there any sort of big moments like that? And kind of I mean, the real underlying question is like, what kind of led to those breakthroughs?
Yeah, you know what? I've had quite a few of those breakthroughs that I find very distinct in my journey.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, I wouldn't pinpoint it to one because I know there's so many different things that actually helped me to get to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the main ones that I would say I put at the top of my list is actually when I first went abroad for my first international jam.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually, after my second year of, no, not even second year, probably third year of breaking, I actually decided I was around like 14 at the time. So I was just really, I saw all these international battles, and in particular I saw IBE. I don't know if you remember the times, but like back in IBE was the all battles all version, and that really for me was like a big eye opener because everything was just like whoa, flashy, man. All the big names and everything like that. Like from then, I just wanted to go to the IBE, and so being young, I had to beg my mum to help me go, and eventually my mum helped me to get to IBE along with one of my
And for
friends.
those who don't know, IBE it's International Breaking is it exhibition.
I
What's the
think
E
event.
stand?
I think it's just
Event.
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 Yeah,
That's what it is.
I'm not quite sure, but yeah,
Exhibition's a bit too complicated. They're just like event.
keep it easy
And
for the
that's
breakers.
and that's like it's a big competition, happens in Europe, and
Mm.
they have like lots of different kind of genres of battles as well.
Yeah, like a big whole festival.
Yeah.
The compiling umbrella. But yeah, IB was good. I actually was taken under wing of one of my mentors, bboy Dr. Gabs, and I also went along with my younger brother at the time, who was a breaker.
Mm-hmm. He's still your
And
younger brother, but yeah.
I mean, still my younger brother, but not a breaker
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
Made that, we gotta make that clear.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and also one of my best friends, bboy Shahi, who I started breaking with actually. So we all traveled together, and I was actually supposed to go there just to spectate because I felt the level for me was too high.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got there, I ended up doing the generations battle alongside bboy Shahi and Dr. Gabs, my mentor. So with the generations battle, if people don't know, is that there has to be a 10-year gap between the mentor and the youngest student, and that's a 3-on-3. So Dr. Gabs was the oldest for me, and the youngest in our team was bboy Shahi. So that was our 10-year gap. And so we entered thinking nothing of it. I thought I'm just going to do my best, show what I've got, and see if what happens and enjoy the day.
Yeah.
And then it comes to it when they called out the qualification names, we made it through. And
Nice.
for us, it was me and Shahi, we were very shocked and surprised, because that for us was a real breakthrough, because internationally it was almost like our first recognition of being into the scene and actually getting to battle some of the highest level breakers. But yeah, literally that really just really pumped us up and really gave us a good confidence boost, because
Right.
it let us know that we were capable of doing something good in this kind of in breaking. Really, we've done a lot of different things. We've done sports together, done some martial arts together, and we started breaking together. And getting that international recognition just really showed us at our level that we can push it. We can really get somewhere. Yeah.
So it wasn't
Unfortunately,
really a breakthrough of technique. It was like a breakthrough of like mentality of like, oh,
yeah,
actually, yo, we could definitely do this.
100%, 100%. Because I think for me, what it is, I think everybody can get to a point physically where they can actually get to where they want to be. It's just the mentality is almost the can be a catalyst, or it could be something that prevents you from getting there. It's just about
Yeah.
how you use your mindset, really. But yeah, and patience, of course. Patience is
Yeah.
is the key. But yeah, those are that's one of the main things. Another one, really, if I'm talking about more of like a physical like experience, is actually when I decided that I just wanted to kind of like take my physicality a bit more serious. So like really take it to the next level. That was more around the time when I was say like if I'm more like 2016, where my crew was starting to when Gully Squad was starting to become more recognized in the UK. I thought to myself, I need to take this a bit more serious. I'm getting a bit older now. I'm like at the time I was 17, and then I really just wanted to push it. So I really created an environment for myself to get stronger. Not that's not just only because of breaking to become stronger, but just physical health and everything like that. I thought it was just important. And from that, it just translated into my breaking, and continuously I just kept on like conditioning my body, stretching, everything that was necessary to make me strong enough to become the b-boy I am today. And what it's kind of done is helped me to learn moves a lot faster.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the moves that I've learned today, I don't think I would have gotten if I wasn't strong enough for it. So I'd say for me that was a kind of like a progression of a breakthrough for me.
Right. And when you say like creating the environment for, strength conditioning, like what do you mean exactly by that?
So what I mean by that is like when I'm at home, I've created some space for me, a space for me to be able to train. My home isn't big, so I use what I have. So I utilize the space for training. I also have my equipment for breaking, or for working out as well. I set up a pull-up bar. I have my weights, my resistance band, etc. All of that to enable me to like keep training little by little as much as I can. Like if I'm not doing a serious session, at least at home, we're doing something of some sort to get that small progression. And I think that's the main keys for progressing, is not having a big session once in a while, but continuously doing small things and small things
Yeah.
just to push, just to slightly push, like small steps to get all the way to the top of the ladder, rather than massive steps that you find difficult to achieve because you've missed out on the small steps.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But
And there's kind
yeah.
of like a momentum effect as well, with the the small increments. It's one thing I'm trying to do now is I just have like a 10-minute routine and just have for each power mover thing. So for instance, like I'm trying to work on like 2000, so like I'm like, all right, 30-second handstand each day, and it's like a simple
Mm.
thing, but like just like the improvements in my 2000s in handstand has just been like huge, so much more than if I was just to like throw loads and loads of handstands like once a week,
Yeah,
just because it's just getting into your body, and because it's just part of your daily thing. You don't have to like blow your body out, and get it like totally knackered, like just
yeah,
to like have a session and then you don't feel so good the other day and you enjoy it more because like your body's not burnt out because you're like kind of taking your time with it. um
yeah,
and you're fresh as well because one of the things as well is like especially b-boys, like we want to train hard, and so we like go 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 go, but then there's
yeah.
like a point where in the session where you become like so tired that your execution starts to really drop off, and
Mm.
so you're not really training it like with the consciousness and the like the body presence that you
Mm.
have when you're fresh, and so you start maybe training that move with like bad technique,
Yeah,
you
incorrectly.
know
Yeah,
whereas doing that little bit like kind of each day, like you say, you can actually practice it each day with like really good technique with like a fresh head, and then stop before like you start drilling it with kind of sloppy technique basically.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Yeah, it's almost like handwriting,
Hmm.
in a sense, like if you're tired and exhausted and you can't, and you're trying to join the dots here and there, but you're missing it. That's a I think that's a calling to just stop, relax, and do it another time. Do it little by little. If you're doing going crazy and you're hurting yourself, it's like it's not worth it. Let yourself perfect the technique slowly, slowly, rather than just rushing everything.
Mm.
Mm. But yeah,
So
but yeah, man, little by little.
little by little,
Yeah,
the
little
little
by little.
engine that could. Is there? So you were talking about like with the conditioning, like
Mm.
how once you brought your strength up in certain areas and your conditioning up in certain areas, you're able to like have those kind of breakthroughs. Um,
Mm.
when you look at generally like a lot of this is kind of a tough one, but when you look at a lot of b-boys, is there one exercise that you would say like, hey man, if you did this like every day, or maybe these one or two exercises, you would see a breakthrough? Are there areas where you see most b-boys that aren't having maybe breakthroughs in their dancing where you're like, like you need to like what exercise would you recommend if you're if to like the average b-boy if they want to see some breakthroughs?
Yeah, that's quite a difficult one because it's more of like it's more of collective of
Mm,
exercises, I guess. But one thing that I've noticed a big change in for myself is doing pull-ups.
okay.
Pull-ups has been a key for me because one, it works on your body weight and solely your body weight. And it I feel like it's just a good strengthening exercise. Like calisthenic, the whole calisthenic spectrum
Mm-hmm.
is very important. Like working on your whole body weight rather than doing heavy weights, because it's all about being able to control your core muscles rather than the external muscles, because that's what's going to be holding your body weight up, and not really the big massive muscles.
Yeah.
So yeah, just any workout that focuses on body weight workout and body control as well. Like you said, handstands are very key, a
Mm,
very key exercise. Yeah, actually, to be honest, handstands and freezes really are very important, I'd say, to allow a breakthrough. Really, when you think about it, a lot of the moves that we do are on our hands, and upside down. So being able to control yourself in that position is going to open so many doors for you. And yeah, it just makes things a lot more easier on the long run when it comes to power moves. So that's power moves wise.
nice. Yeah. Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think, yeah, you said to me in the session, you're like every power move you do, you're moving through a sequence of freezes, you know.
Mm.
And once, you know, and it's one of the things like, you know, I started to realize as well with especially with like a lot of the balance moves, you know, you see the people who are like really got balance moves really solid. And it doesn't matter what it is or what style it is, whether it's, you know, head spins and breaking or like pirouettes in ballet, for instance. Like,
Mm.
you know, one of the things you see is like, you know, to use like breaking example is like the guys who, you know, have crazy good head spins and stuff. You know, some of those guys they stop and they're just like holding the, you know, the headstand like without any hands, and you're like, all right, well that makes sense, you know. You know, or I see it like in ballet where, you know, they'll do the pirouette and then they'll stop and they'll just be like on balance, and it's like, yeah, that's why they can do it, because they've just got
Yeah,
that position like on lock. And then after
solid.
that, it's just adding the simple mechanic of like turning into it, you know.
Hmm.
But the main thing is that they work on strength and making sure that they're really strong in that position so that when they're turning, you know, everything's locked in, and the body can rotate without like kind of falling apart and then falling off balance, you know.
Yeah, literally, literally. I think I do feel one misconception about when I say strength and breaking.
Mm,
I don't mean getting going to the gym, getting massive muscles like a bodybuilder, and doing heavy weights. That's a for me that's a plus. You know,
mm,
that's an extra. Um, like when I say strength, it's just more like I said, body weight exercises. That's the main thing. Being able to control your body. Control is the key. Being able
right.
to hold yourself in those positions rather than having these massive muscles that don't function the way it could and benefit for breaking.
Mm,
But yeah, that's just one thing that I want to just say out there, just in case people might get confused with the with either or.
mm. And it
Mm.
works as well. Like a lot of that calisthenic stuff's like it's also about just like creating strength through like a range of motion as well. Because often we get strong, but only when the like the muscle or sorry, the like the ligament, the what's it called, the like appendage, whatever, like you know, like an arm, like or leg, it's in like a certain like range of motion. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, I was working with like a ballet dancer like we were choreographing them this stuff, and I was like, oh, like you know, spin up from the floor, which for like a b-boy is not a big deal, you know. And she's a ballet dancer, she's got like really strong legs, and she really struggled to do it. And then I was like, oh, like yeah, that kind of makes sense, because you know, she wouldn't really get into like a kind of squat position like that and just be
Mm.
like pushing up to a turn. Like that's kind of, well, it's a bit awkward, but also muscle wise it's like using kind of different muscles in your
Yeah,
legs,
literally.
whereas you know I couldn't do like, you know, the like developpe, like you know, where you stick your leg out to the side, you know, without my leg shaking, you know, because you know my legs weren't strong in that position, you know.
Mm, mm, mm.
So it's like, yeah, not just the exercise of like, oh, I'm just going to get on this like machine, but like how you create strength through like the whole range of motion. So
Mm.
wherever you are in that motion, like you can hold yourself up, and you don't just like as soon as you get out of that range of motion, you're just like got nothing, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, literally. It's like basically to summarize that is it's all doing sport specific exercises.
Mm-hmm.
So things that will translate directly into whatever you are practicing, whether it be power moves or footwork or even just a knee drop. Like
Mm,
you define the exercises that will support that and not just strengthening the muscles there, but the actual strengthening the movement. But
nice.
yeah, yeah, that's the main key for it, I guess.
Yeah. So, and during like, you know, we're during COVID times, we're having to, you know, do a lot of our own solo sessions. How for you, like, how do you structure like a typical session in
Mm,
terms of like, you know, warm up, cool down, working on, you know, freezes, you know, some of the exercises, pull ups and stuff that we conditioning, power
yeah.
to footwork practice ratio, like how do you kind of what's a typical session structure look like for you?
For me, the session is different every day.
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep it that way just to keep, because I try to train every day, as much as I can until I'm tired. Um, and it is hard to just stay motivated if you're doing the same thing. So I always try to switch it up. But how I structure my session typically, I would always start the day with a small workout, something light, just to
Mm-hmm.
get the blood flowing. And then, like after an hour, um, I would start the session properly, where I do warm up. Usually, the warm up will consist of just like the basic cardio exercises, get the blood pumping, push ups, burpees, star jumps, then a mild stretch just to make sure that I'm ready and yeah, my body is loose. And I'd always start with the hardest thing first, which is the power moves and all the
Hmm.
tricks. So I'd always dedicate a day to either a certain trick, freeze, power move, something of that needs proper focus and energy.
Mm.
For example, I would practice air flares one day. That would be my main focus for practice. And once I've ticked that off, so I have a list. Air flares is done. I would move on to combos. So running all of my combos as much as I can with the space I have,
Mm-hmm.
running them through and making sure that I can actually do them at least 3 times in a row. Um, as well as that, I would just
And
do the
are
basic.
those like necessarily combos related to like your air flares, or is that just like
Ah,
your go-to general combos that you're
yeah,
just trying
yeah,
to keep in and keep tight?
yeah. Basically, just my combos that I'm just keeping for maintenance, really.
Mm.
Yeah. So that would be that's also, I do that every session. So every session has to consist of me doing my combos, making sure it's done 3 in a row, so that it's like kind of like it's given that I'm able to do that.
Mm.
Um,
That's a good rule of thumb, actually, because it's like, you
mm,
can hit that three in the row. It's like you pretty much got it. You got it consistently.
yeah,
You can pull out in the battle. Because I think definitely, the thing is like when you're in a battle, like, as you know, you're just under a certain kind of like pressure that if
mm,
you don't got it really locked in and consistent, like, it's not happening.
it's
You
risky.
you fall really to the like, the lowest level of your training
Mm,
in a battle often. So it's, if it's not really locked in, like it can fall apart for sure.
yeah, yeah, definitely. That's why it's always just good to be ready and conditioned
Hmm.
because you might not be there mentally, but at least your body is physically ready to do something.
Right.
But yeah, um, and yeah, just literally, yeah. Sometimes though, I'll admit myself that I don't get it 3 times in a row, and I'd end up be doing the same combo for half an hour, doing it like tens of times just to get it 3 in a row, which
Wow.
is some I will admit is frustrating sometimes, but
Mm.
it has to be done. Like I tell myself, it's got to be done. Otherwise, it's almost like me saying I'm cheating myself. I'm cheating myself in a
Right.
way. Yeah, I always want to make sure that I've actually done and ticked off everything on the list at the very least.
Mm.
Anything else is just kind of like more satisfaction for myself.
Mm.
But yeah, so so I'd have the main move, combos, and then my workout and then stretch. So my workout will always be sport specific. So like handstands, a lot of I practice a lot of planches. I haven't quite got there yet, but I'm still like progressing slowly into like a very strong planche. I think that's very important, especially for my style. I do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of air flares, so like being in that position and holding that position, like you said with the pirouettes, if they're able to hold that position there, it's like they have that control. So with the air flare, I'm holding it in this position and I'm stable. It means I feel a sense of control and stability when I'm doing my move. So yeah. Um, Also the pull-ups, the push-ups, basic ab workout, leg workout, just to keep everything still firm and strong. And with the stretching, I've given myself a set routine for stretching. What I do, I used to find hard for stretching is, things I love stretching, but I never go with a particular order, and sometimes I'd miss things out.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a routine for myself just to enable myself to hit every single part of my body when I'm stretching, and that way I won't forget or I won't miss out on a certain muscle group. Whether I worked on it or not, it still has to be stretched. So yeah, usually that would take like 15 to 20 minutes to stretch. I'd try to go as intense as I can, making sure I really push the stretch. And and yeah,
I
really
think that's
is
a really important point. Like, even if you didn't necessarily work that muscle group a lot that day, you know, getting into the stretch, you know, um, yeah, because, you know, yeah, just improving that general level of flexibility over time, you know, and not and making sure that yeah, there aren't areas that get neglected. Like, I know it's easy to get into the same stretches and stretch the areas where you're already fairly flexible, and
yeah,
not work on the stretches where, you know, things are weak. But actually, if you stretch that out, like, probably other things would sort of unlock, because often
literally.
it's the ways in which, like, it's not our bodies sort of can work against us, you know.
Mm,
And actually, sometimes if we just work on that weakness a little bit, that strength will shine through. And it's not
yeah,
that we need to become stronger in one area, it's just that we need to address a weakness in another in order for that strength to be able to, like, really reveal itself, you know.
yeah. Like literally, you saying that I have a friend who's always struggled with with his flips with his hips,
Mm-hmm.
hip flexibility, and it almost kind of like not prevented, but made it harder for him to do kind of open leg stuff like windmills and flares. And then over the years, you've actually progressed and progressed just by stretching this little by little, you
Mm.
know. And I think even if you don't use the muscle, when you do come to a move where you do use it, it's almost there ready. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why it's important to just stretch it anyways. Stretch
Yeah.
all the different muscle parts, joints, anyways. Be ready. You're there.
Be ready.
Yeah, be ready.
Yeah, man. I think one of the other things that you highlight that's really important is, like, I think it's really nice you got like a ratio of, like, working on new stuff to working on old stuff. I think one of the hard things, or one of the things that, I don't know, like I've definitely struggled with over the years, is where you get into stagnating progression, or your style changes but it doesn't really elevate, you know. So, you know, having a getting like a combo solid, and then working on going and sort of losing interest, going and working on something new, getting that thing, but then losing that old combo that you had, you know. And if I put it all together over the years, like, I'd have a really great itinerary. But the problem is, like, it's the hard work, basically, of, like, maintaining what you have, and then investing in kind of new stuff, so that when something new comes in, it's growing you up, rather than sort of like one in, one out.
Yeah, yeah. Replacement of combination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I won't lie, I've had some of those situations before in my breaking where I've lost things because I've neglected it or I haven't put enough time into it.
Mm.
And that thing there is almost what kind of triggered me to start this kind of training to make sure that
Right.
I've ticked off the boxes and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that I've done all of the stuff that I need to do to maintain. You know,
Mm.
it's the long bit, but it's the very useful bit
Right.
for longevity and just breaking in general, being able to do these out of muscle memory.
Yeah.
But but yeah, yeah, man, literally, it's needed. It's got to
Mm.
be done. It's like revision. It's basically revision.
Yeah. That, and just putting a checklist together, you know. Everyone's
Mm,
training goals are different, you know. And as you say, like, you know, especially when you're executing a lot of different movements, and you know, you have your goals, putting that checklist together for your training is really important, just because otherwise, like, you just will miss stuff, you know. And it helps create, like, accountability for yourself, You know,
Yeah,
I read somewhere that if you write something down, you're 6 times more likely to do it. You know, so just by creating the checklist, you know,
yeah,
you're more likely to, you know, really get it done.
yeah, exactly. Accountability. That's the right word. That's the right word for
Yeah.
it. Making yourself accountable. Then you'll start to do things more.
Mm.
Mm. Mm.
What do you think of the new uh, b-boy entering the Olympics? What's your
I
kind of it's been really big news, you know, for the community. Um, I think it's been, yeah, I guess like a lot of people, I have kind of like mixed feelings about it. Generally
mm,
speaking, I feel really positive in that breaking's been really struggling in the UK. Well, you know, when I started when properly, like I did it a bit when I was younger, but I started really properly when I was at university. And like kind of since leaving, a lot of the uni crews that I kind of came up with like have since like fizzled out, you know, and are pretty much like non-existent, you know. And for the UK, I don't know how it is in like the US and, you know, in other countries, like, but for the UK, like you did have your more like professional crews, but the kind of bread and butter, like the vast majority of crews was just like university guys, um, you know, hanging out, kind of having fun, and they weren't necessarily like planning on going pro or anything, or had like were super dedicated. But that was like that was kind of a lot of the grassroots of the scene in the UK.
mm.
So to see that fizzle out over the last few years has been kind of sad, you know. Um, yeah, and I've really worried about, you know, kind of b-boying dying out, because it's on one ways it's become more and more high profile with, you know, mainstream things like, you know, Monster and these Red Bull events and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
people seeing, you know, non-break dancers seeing it happen on like YouTube and, you know, TikTok and whatever and Instagram, like seeing this stuff, and they're like, oh, this is incredible. And so it simultaneously increased in profile while
mm.
also kind of sort of fizzling out at like a grassroots level.
Yeah,
And it's been, you know, and so I've been kind of watching this the last 5 years, and I'm like, oh, this is a little bit of like a ticking time bomb, because we're not going to have those guys to send. You know, when we think of like, you know, who's like the next b-boy Sonny, who's the next, you know, who's the next like guys who are going to send to the top level, and
mm,
unless we're
mm.
investing in the grassroots stuff, we're not going to have guys who we a pool of dancers to be able to show it this high profile stuff. So um,
Yeah,
you know, I'm excited for the Olympics, and that hopefully it's gonna, you know, reignite interest in breakdancing in the UK and globally. I think we will hopefully see some more interest. But I think it is kind of up to the community to like grab that interest and set up classes, set up some of the structures and things to be able to actually like kind of train up the next generation, you know, and take hold of that enthusiasm when it comes along.
Lit- literally, man, it's the enthusiasm that gets it going, right? For me, like the Olympics wise, I think it's an amazing thing. Like no doubt is something that I think is going to do, obviously going to have a big change for the breaking scene, but it's very positive. It's going to bring positive change as long as everybody kind of embraces it and try to not see the negative spin on it. There's always a
Mm,
way you can. There's always a way to really, like, you can take like you might not be at the forefront of the like the Olympics, but there's always a benefit that you can take from the outside, whether it be the marketing of the Olympics. The Olympics is, for me, is a massive marketing tool for the breaking scene.
mm,
Is actually getting the breaking scene out there properly. Now people know that breaking is a serious thing because of the Olympics. You might not be the forefront, or you might not be the main breaker, the coach, the organizer, but from this point, you know that people have seen breaking, and they might spike a small interest here and there. You can utilize that for your own classes to I don't know what else there is, like to educate people about hip hop and the breaking's evolution throughout the years. Yeah, there's many ways that you can take breaking in the Olympics for a positive spin, whether you're involved or not. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing that is there. It's just opening so many doors and giving so many opportunities, regardless of being involved inside. But yeah, and like you said, like the dying aspect of the grassroots of it is really the enthusiasm of breaking. Like this is being lost. Really, I feel like the competitions have kind of moved that out of the way. Um, there hasn't been enough accessibility to really being able to enjoy the community side of breaking, because everything is solely focused on the competition. We kind of need a balance of both in order for it to keep growing. Because I think breaking will survive, but I don't think it will grow in a way that the scene will become very very strong, or like we will retain breakers or people just in the general hip hop community. But we just need to. I think we need to just keep making sure that we have a balance of both. Otherwise, people will lose interest. When people like, it's just common that when people find things hard and they're not really getting what they expected out of it, move on to something else, you know. But if you're enjoying it, regardless of not being able to do so and so, and you stick into it because of the community, the friends, the people, the aspect of just having fun, we get more people staying in. And who knows, those people that want to stay and keep joining, they might decide one day, okay, I want to take it to the next level, and that could produce the next high level Sunnies, the Karams, and etc. So yeah, like balance of both, really.
Yeah, I think it is. It's one of those things where like with the Olympics, it's like I see as really positive, but it's like a really positive like extension of like one slice of the pie, you know. And it's like it's great, but it's also not enough. Like we're not gonna fix the breaking scene with just the Olympics alone. And while it's positive, like we do need to kind of address these areas that you're talking about, you know, because it's as you say, like if you're like don't have all those other aspects that like make b-boying fun, you know, like engaging with the music through like TJing or getting into the different aspects of the music, getting into aspects of hip hop culture, you know, the part of it of just like being part of a crew and just like having fun with your friends, getting into ciphers and like the side of breaking that's more about expression than like competition. You know, all these other aspects of it, you know, that aren't like about winning, but are just about like having fun, being with people, like just being part of the culture, expressing yourself, and all of that stuff. Like, you know, it's not really sustainable, because otherwise, like, you go to a jam and you're like, cool, didn't get through prelims, and then you're just like not chilling with nobody. There's no ciphers, so nobody's really thrown down. Like, you know, the music's kind of like, you know, whack and like just out of touch with like, you know, like decent breaks and stuff. And, you know, quickly, like, it's easy to just lose enthusiasm for this, because you're like, this is just like, you know, gymnastics with more ridicule. like,
There's more to it. There's more to it, really. There's more to breaking that whole break competition side to it.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Like, all the DJs that we have for breaking, like literally, like, if they stopped breaking because they weren't winning the competitions or being at the highest levels, where would our DJs be coming from? You know?
Yeah, true.
It's small things like this, like that we really need to like try and push and address, because there's more to breaking than just winning competitions and competing. Like you said, like people everybody wants to get together. Like even my university society, ULU, ULU, we who ran a Break Central. Like we kept it going. We pushed like the community side. We helped. We always hang out with each other, and it was always fun. And that's what kept us interested in breaking, rather than trying to win that competition here and there.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun because we were doing it together, and we was enjoying it.
Mm.
That's really gonna help push different sides of breaking. Someone might be interested. Like say, like I have a friend who's doing graphic design, and he breaks as well. He might not get into the top tier level of being top breakers winning competition, but he might develop something where he's created a brand within breaking, clothing brand within breaking, using his graphic design. To be honest, I don't know if that will relate, graphic design and clothing.
Yeah.
Or let's say like fashion, even fashion, and they brought their fashion aspect into breaking. Now there's a new fashion, there's a new clothing line in breaking that has been created, and people like it. It might expand into the general public, but yeah, it's really getting people into different kind of aspects of the breaking. Just
like the different ways that you can support the culture and be a part of the culture and like make a genuine contribution without necessarily, you know, just being like, you know, you have to be the top b-boy, because it's kind of just like, getting away from this mentality of like either you're like the top b-boy or, you know, like you ain't nothing, and like that's it, you know, and getting more to just like positively embracing all aspects of like the contributions that people make to the scene and stuff. But I hope to see more of it, man. You know, we just got to keep up the hustle, keep jamming and keep having fun, and it's gonna be good. You got some classes that you were doing kind of pre-COVID. You're doing some private teaching now. Will you start up will you start up kind of group classes again at some point?
So what my plan is, so I usually do teach younger kids and like some teenagers here and there, pre-COVID as well. But my main focus for after COVID is to try and set up a power move class. So what I think is that there's a gap in the breaking scene, where nobody is actually being taught professionally or directly how to improve your power moves and how you can get them at a certain level. There's a lot of breaking classes that do cover that, but because it's breaking and it's a general class, they don't focus mainly on the power move aspect, I believe. So I really want to just really push that and really just help people to really get the power moves, really, if I'm putting it simple. Just for people to know where to go for if they want to learn power moves, because I feel like I feel personally for myself, I've been through the whole process of having to learn from scratch every single power move, and what it takes to what the small things that it takes to get to that level. So what I want to do is just set up something where I could provide that for people who want to learn power moves in general, and breakers that want to enhance their power move level. Really, I think that's it's a big key to progressing the scene as well. Yeah,
nice, man, dude. That's gonna be so good.
Hopefully, man, I want to try to expand that.
And I think that is really needed, because like often with like power training, like you might get a little bit of feed in from other people. You know, if you're lucky, you might get a b-boy break it down for you, but it's going through those progressions, kind of as you say, like if you're trying to do like a windmill, having someone like, like people rock up and they don't know about breaking, and they're just like, I want to do windmill, and you're like, cool, okay, it's going to take a little bit to get there, but
Yeah,
you know, actually we need to get you doing backspin first. Like,
yeah,
cool, now you can do backspin. That's fun. You got that move. Oh, we need to get you doing like a baby freeze, and then like baby freeze to backspin, like, you know, doing the like octopus thing, like getting all
mhm,
the like different little kind of increments that kind of get you there. But you don't necessarily know to do that unless like someone kind of takes you through it and like helps you
yeah,
on that journey. So I think
exactly.
that's fantastic, man.
Yeah, it's like martial arts. You would have a
Mm,
syllabus. You would have a syllabus of things that you need to do in order to get, well, in order to grade. Really, if you want to get to that next belt, you're gonna need to do all these small steps. Same with breaking. If you want to get to the windmill,
mm,
there's so many small steps you need to do in order to get that windmill, the new belt. And so, but I think one of the main things for it, reasons why I want to do it mainly is because of the accessibility of it. I
mm.
feel like there's not much accessibility to learning power moves. Um, so I feel like maybe I could really touch on that and help people out with that. I think this is the main
Yeah.
key thing. Yeah.
And learning it in like a safe way as well, because a lot of people just like go in and just chuck this stuff around and they just bust their bodies up, like, you know, yeah, all our b-boys know, like there's times when we just tried just like, you know, young enthusiasm, we're like, yeah, I'll do that, and then, you know, suddenly, you know, your neck ain't right, and your wrist is
Okay.
aching. like, you know,
Oh,
we'll all have those sessions, you know. So the b-boys coming in, and you know they got the cast on the foot, and they're like still doing freezes, and you're like, calm down, man.
it's
Like,
crazy. I've seen that. I've seen that, and
yeah,
I'm just
and just
wow.
yeah, and just throwing, you know, you can see in the technique, throwing moves, and you're just like, this is not gonna end well, you know. Um,
It's like it doesn't that doesn't look safe at all.
yeah, you got to learn
Yeah.
how to crawl before you can flare, you know.
Mm,
Um,
no, exactly that, man. Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. So, where can people check out your classes? Is it gonna be on your Instagram? Is that the best place to find out what's going on?
Um, I actually haven't set it up online recently. I've just for the
Hmm.
meantime, I've kind of kept it private.
Yeah.
Just letting people approach me about it first, because I
Hmm.
feel like it's I don't want to put it out there for people to like it's more of people. I want people to, as weird as it sounds, to come to me for the knowledge,
Hmm.
more of a sense that it's like I know that you've taken your time to come out the way to learn this, so I kind of
Hmm.
understand that there's a commitment and like a want for development.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, for now, for the meantime, it's just kind of like contact me privately.
Yeah.
um it could be via email, Instagram.
Hmm.
uh what else do I have? I can't even.
Sure.
Yeah, email or Instagram. Um, yeah, like mainly just contact me from there. But I think as COVID restrictions ease, I'm gonna start promoting it a bit more to the general public, just to let it be known that it's there, I
Hmm.
guess. But yeah, yeah, literally, yeah, I mean, maybe I guess Instagram and YouTube really. Really, those are the biggest platforms right now. I think I might utilize those to really
Yep.
promote it and just show what I visually what I want for people to get from what I'm teaching.
Sweet. We'll drop your Instagram in the description below. So give my guy, yeah, exactly. Give my guy a follow, and you can check out more of what he's doing. Thanks for being on the podcast today,
Appreciate
man.
it.
This has been really
No,
good.
no, thank you for having me, man. It's really nice to be like just talking about things and just yeah, even just interaction, man. It's like
Yeah.
it's good to just be talking to people, man, especially during these lockdown periods, man. It's
Yeah,
nice.
just
But yeah,
like
no, I appreciate all of that, man. Like seriously, man.
yeah, all the COVID lockdown, just like it's just nice to just see another human being.
I know, man. Sometimes it just gotta be done. It's just gotta be done.
Yeah, and thank you, audience, for joining us as well. If you liked what you heard, you can check out more of Gabriel's stuff. We'll pop the Instagram below. If you liked what you're hearing, then click follow, subscribe, like it, so you can follow us for more content, and we'll see you next week.